Hi there everyone, coming down to start preparing the site, our plot. Our potatoes will be going in soon. We've got peas, we've got various things growing away at home. It's still a bit early, we've got a few frosty nights coming along, but we want to prep the plot so that as soon as we can get it into the soil, we can do that rather than having them hang around in pots at home. So join me while we clear and plan for the next few weeks. So we're on plot 3. I'm just back from a second holiday and we're clearing this whole area now. We're lifting all the parsnips. Just lifting the parsnips, let me show you. There's quite a few in there, not looking too bad at all. So we're lifting the parsnips. This is where the celeriac was. A lot of them have rotted with the rain, but there are a few, I think, that might be okay, but if not, they'll go in the compost. Just clear up all the bricks and things from where we've had the carrots. I'm just lifting the last of the carrots, and let me take you around to my carrot bucket. In there, they're not looking too bad at all. So this will all be clear and tidied in the next day or two, and we're getting ready to plant potatoes in here. So this is going to take us at least a good session, if not more, and then we'll feed it and compost it, all ready for the spuds. So we've finished weeding and clearing this part of the plot. I'm a bit breathless because it was hard work, but you can see it's all looking really nice. Let's go down to the end. So I've given it a light feed of some bloodfish and bone and a little bit of chicken manure, and just rake that in. If you don't rake it in, the fox will come along and dig up the plot. So we've done that. We've got a bucket of carrots over there, and I think there's a big bucket of parsnips somewhere that we've lifted. The celeriac was rotten, and I think next year that we'll rather than leave it in the soil, which we've done before because it's been quite wet, that they had gone rotten on the top. So we lost all of those. I think we had about 8 left that's still usable. But it's great because this plot now is ready. I may put some leaf mould on here. I've got what have I got? I've got a compost bin full of not this year's, the year before's leaf mould that I might put on here, because we're going to be planting potatoes in here. So just something to keep the weeds down while the potatoes are pushing up. And then next on the agenda is to have a little pier under here. I think there's some Swedes, but I can see the broad beans are coming up nicely as well. Let's just lift the corner of this up. These are now coming up, but I do have a lot of gaps, and I planted 2 trays of broad beans just for this occasion. So when I come down next in a few days, I'll bring those down and fill that gap, clear the ends of this plot, and then that will be most of this side of the plot ready for planting, because over there has been prepared as well. So a good day for a lovely, lovely sunny, dry day. Oh, how lovely it is to have that. So the covers have been lifted, and the gaps in the broad beans have now been filled. Some of them are doing really well. Look at these. And some of the new ones are a bit behind. And to be honest, where some of them have died down, they are shooting up again as well. Broad beans are pretty hardy little things, and if you just leave them in the ground, often they will reshoot. These are doing pretty well, and as we've got some of this netting left over at the moment, we're going to put this back on because this will stop the black fly. We get terrible black fly, which is why I prefer to plant in the autumn and get the crops up early and out, because the black fly just love broad beans. And although people say pinch out the tops or spray them or whatever it is, it doesn't deter them that much. You might keep them down a bit, but we get lots and lots of black fly. So we've cleared this end of the plot as well. There's a few little bits and pieces that just need hoeing down, but on the whole this has been cleared. We're going to probably relay these paths at the weekend because they just look manky, and maybe put some wood chip down as well. But at the moment we're just concentrating on getting a few crops in and clearing. So that's that. And over here I've now started planting the Calabrese, the ones that I sowed in late autumn last year and have been overwintering in the greenhouse, and they're in now. That's 2 rows. I'm going to put probably 1 more row of them in here. I've done the holes. 1 more in here, and then possibly 2 rows of cauliflowers. And I like this space just because of the shade that this shed of ours creates, because in the height of the summer this shading is great for things like lettuces, and it just keeps them that little bit cooler and keeps the spinach, just slows it down for bolting, and also Chinese vegetables. So if we have any space, we like to put the cooler plants here. And gosh, look who's here. Mr. Georgie himself, looking into the holes. He is the allotment helper. He is also a superb mouse catcher. Where are you, Georgie? There, you're there, are you? You're going to say hello to everybody? Yeah. And Georgie's only got 3 legs, so he does fantastically well. Look at you, you're all dirty from rolling in the mud. He does fantastically well on the mousing department, and he keeps the mice down on the site. And during the winter, we just recently put a cat flap in one of the sheds so that he could go in there. He's got a big snug bed and lots of food and water, and as soon as anybody's down, he is out. Where are you? He is out and around your legs. He is so sociable. He's a gorgeous little cat, and aren't you, eh? Yeah. So he is our allotment helper. So I'm just about to fill these holes with the Calabrese, and they are lovely plants. I'm really pleased, and I hope this works and we get an early crop. But I just wanted to say that I dig these holes, put the plants in, and then I have a watering can, and it has water obviously, and a very dilute mix of this BioBuzz organic fish mix and this. I have got no clue what I'm doing, but I think this is from seaweed. It's a seaweed extract, because every time I try to look, it's all in Dutch and I can't read it. But a couple of years ago I made a light dilute, just put in a little bit in a watering can and watered the holes, and I significantly noticed a difference in the brassicas, and ever since I've done that. Every time I've planted the brassicas, I've watered it, dug the hole, put the plant in, not covered it up, put the water, the dilute mix in the hole, and then covered it up. And I must say, I have noticed that the brassicas that I've done that with have been stronger and have grown faster than the ones that I don't do it with. Scientifically, I haven't got a clue what I'm doing. I just know that it's worked, and you might want to think about maybe trying that yourself. So I pop the Calabrese in and I put it in fairly deep so that it comes at least up to those first leaves and covers the stalks, just because that will help get it to root fairly solid and prevent some of the rocking that the wind in the early months can give it. So it just helps to root it down a bit. So I'm just going to fill the hole, well, not fill it, but give it a decent drink like that on all of them, then cover up the holes, and that's what needs to happen. Don't know that you can see that, the sun's shining too much. And give it a good solid, good solid press down. And there you go, that's one done. So a few more of those and then we'll be finished. There we are. So that's 3 rows of Calabrese or broccoli and 2 rows of cauliflowers, all looking good. And I'm going to plant some Chinese vegetables in between and then cover the whole lot with some fleece. The Chinese vegetables will grow very quickly, so they will be out before these brassicas need the space. So I get 2 crops out of this one space. So I've been growing some of these pak choi in these egg cartons, but I've also put some into ordinary seed cells as well, which I'll show you in a minute. But what I do to because some people say you shouldn't disrupt the roots, so I do them in here, and then I just break off, see they're all nice and moist. I break them off, and here's the hole, and I just pop the whole thing in, just like that. So these are the pak choi, and then I shall give it a nice water. And as I said, I'm going to put some fleece on them. So they've come out of the greenhouse and they're going to go straight in the ground in between these brassicas. And they'll be ready in a month or so, ready to crop. So they'll come out long before these brassicas need the space, which means that we get 2 crops out of one place. And the fleece is over all the crops now, and we'll protect it for the next week or so. The paths on plot 3 were getting into a terrible state. I mean, just look at this, all the dirt, the weeds and everything else. That's partly because the actual beds and the paths are not the same depth. It's a bit lower, so all the dirt falls from the bed to the path, so it is a mess. So what we've been doing is relaying the Mypex on the paths. We haven't done them all, as you've seen that last one hasn't been done. So we've done quite a few of them, and we've now decided that we're going to put wood chip on it. I don't know why we haven't done it before, put wood chip on it, but for some reason we decided that we weren't going to. But I've changed my mind. As soon as the wood chip delivery gets here, we're going to do that. And it will also bring the paths up a bit so that it's a much more even sort of between the path and the actual growing site. So I'm hoping not so much dirt will fall onto the paths. So most of them have been done. We're just waiting for the wood chip. So there's this one still to do, and there is this one to do that's along here. You can probably just see a bit of it there. And all of this is horse manure that we've collected from the local stables, that over the next few months will go into our compost bins. But we've kind of just stored it there for now. It's a bit of an eyesore to us rather than anybody else, because it's actually stored behind the compost bins itself. But I always breathe a great big sigh of relief when the last bag goes in the compost bin. So that's doing the paths.